Hello and welcome to 15 Minutes with 15-Minute Gamer. My name is Tony and this is a interview. Today I am joined by Jupiter Hadley. She is into indie games in a big way and indie game jams. It's a 25-minute interview or so I know a little bit longer than normal, but it's a very interesting one. Didn't want to cut it short. I hope you enjoy it. Now I'll hand you over to me and her. You will find all the links in the description, all the information needed in there, and just overall enjoy. Let's get some indie love spread. You know I love the indie games, so what a perfect person to interview. Very lovely girl. Enjoy. So that's the introductions done, so over to Jupiter now, and here she is.
Hello, I'm Jupiter Hadley, and I do lots of various indie game stuff all over the internet. I do some freelance writing for a couple of websites like Alpha Beta Gamer and Game Jolt's Fireside. I used to do writing for creators.co, so I've got a lot of different articles over there. I also play loads of indie games. I do single Let's Plays of indie games every day, as well as hundreds of videos on game jams. This is what I'm most known for. Game jams are where developers make little games in like 48 hours or 72 hours and sometimes longer with themes, different restrictions, and I play all of the games entered in most of the jams that happen online. I also run a website called indiegamejams.com, which is just a big calendar of all of the game jams that are like taking place online or at physical locations. And yeah, that's like the bulk of what I do is covering game jams. That's what I love to do.
So I'll put them links in the description there. So yeah, game jams. I've played a few game jam games. They range completely from good to terrible. So let's put you on the spot here. What's the best game jam you've ever kind of played, and also possibly not the worst, well, not name any names, but is the one you've ever played that you just thought, what a load of rubbish that is?
Okay, well, let's go with the worst first.
Yes, let's do that.
A long time ago, there was a Flappy Bird jam, and I know the guy who started the Flappy Bird jam, and I understand his intentions behind it, but what you ended up with is 700 entries, 600 of which were Flappy Bird clones. Reskinned Flappy Bird clones. And I played all 700 of these games.
That's good going.
And I just, at the end of it, I was like, this is the worst. This is the worst thing I've ever done in my life. What am I doing with myself? I've played so many Flappy Birds. And they're not even, like, the graphics are just different, but it's the same game. And that was really intense. That was probably the worst game jam I've ever played, just because everyone made the exact same game. And I find that really kind of boring in a game jam if everyone takes the theme and makes the exact same game. So you're just playing the same game over and over again with very minor differences.
That is quite dull, to be fair.
Yeah, and then right after it was like a Candy Crush Saga King.com game jam where everything was match 3 games. And I was like, no.
That sounds like my idea of hell. Flappy Birds and match 3 games, just two of the games that I just have no interest in at all.
I have nothing good to say about Flappy Bird games at this point. I'm so done.
I think that was probably done very quickly. Like, it was like, right, okay, we have a little bird thing. Okay, it made lots of money. Right,
Yep.
What's coming up next? Oh,
Yeah.
let's see. It's a plane this time. Oh, it's a fish. Oh, it's this. It's like,
It's just a pixel. It's literally just blocks. Just jumping through more blocks. Yay.
I played them the block Flappy Bird type games probably about 5-6 years ago. Like, you're talking even probably longer. Like, I remember playing free web browser games where you were a ball or a spaceship going up and down and avoiding walls.
I've played them all at this point. I've played all of them. It's just Flappy Bird bad memories. My favorite game jams. I really am partial to the Familiar game jam, which happens at a physical location in Spain, because it's just an all-around great jam. The page that they make is so well presented. The themes are always awesome. The games that are made for it are always well-rounded and complete. I very much like the GM48s, which happen quarterly, and they're all in Game Maker. Again, because the website's so nice, and the games that are produced are always really good. Ludum Dare always has good entries, though there is way too many games in that jam for me to really cover all of them. But yeah, there's a lot of game jams that I enjoy. This year, I really liked the Pippin Bar Game Idea Game Jam, which was a game jam that didn't have a theme, but instead you had to take tweets from this like Twitter bot, I think it's a bot anyway, that like put out these game ideas every couple of days. And the game ideas were just so wacky and out there, and all of the games that were made was sort of avant-garde almost. They were just like interactive adventures. They were just interactive pieces that you could play around with, and they were all very interesting.
That does sound... I've never been to a game jam before, but I have sat with a bunch of people doing a comic jam, which I'm guessing is the same sort of thing. You know, they just got given a random subject and would design a comic around it, which was quite interesting to watch them kind of at work. So I can imagine watching the guys in the gaming field, pretty interesting to sit and watch them come up with these ideas, and you know, and especially within such a short time frame as well. So I've played it. I was trying to think back just when you talked there of any the names of some I have played, but I really can't remember the names now. I remember one was in some sort of shopping mall, and I seem to remember it was towards Christmas time maybe, and you had to go around this shopping mall, and there was little shops and stuff, and it had a few memes in, as they do, you know, like running around. Yep. I can't remember the premise. I just remember a shopping mall, and I was kind of like, this is weird. But it was like nice and detailed, and there was like a game shop and a clothes shop, and it was all quite well done and quite humorous as well in the way it was done. But yeah, that was a game jam sort of game. But I would...
And there are a lot of them floating around.
Yes. Well, if you're playing 600 Flappy Bird clones, I can only imagine how many there is out there.
I play 5,000 Game Jam games a year.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So when you're playing them, do they send, like, if it's not a physical one, is it, like, on the website, can you download these games, or have you got to be invited, or...
I don't tend to play physical game jams because people don't tend to submit theirs at physical game jams. Physical game jams tend to have the jam at a location, and then all of the games get presented in sort of a showcase, and then that's it. They don't actually make it online most of the time. Okay. So I tend to cover online game jams. So Itch.io and Game Jolt are two major places. They have like their own game jam system. And so you as a person on the internet can just set up a jam there, and people can submit their games to it. Because I don't make games, I never get to vote. Well, I don't always get to vote because a lot of times, like the Ludum Dare and a lot of Game Jolt game jams, they don't allow you to vote unless you submit a game. But I do just play through them all and give opinions, I guess, without actually... I vote on their rating on Game Jolt. That's about as close as I can get to most of them.
Yeah, I've never tried Game Jolt, but itch.io I've played on a few times. But yeah, I'll have to check the other one out then if that's the case, because it'd be kind of interesting to maybe check them out when they're doing one. Because
the Adventure Jam's the next big one, and it's a really good jam every year.
When's that one?
It's towards the middle of May, I would say. I can look up the exact time.
Yeah, keep me informed on that one, because I might join in that one and have a little bit of a play around with some of these games, because I like me indie games.
I like me indie games.
Yeah, you got like a bit of indie gaming, don't you? And in fact, that's where it's at. I very rarely, like, I play AAA games, but they tend to be, you know, I'll pick them on the PlayStation and play forever. Indie game wise, I think probably 90% of my library is indie games, I would say. And I love supporting them, you know, when you do them on Kickstarter or join in from very early alpha, or, you know, like give them a little bit of money at the beginning and then keep an eye on it. And yeah, I quite enjoy it, apart from there's quite a few of them just don't make it to production, which really annoys you. But that's a different subject. Happens. Yes.
Just an update on the Adventure Jam. It started.
Oh,
it started on the 5th.
Here.
It started on the 5th and it ends in 12 days.
There you go. So you've missed some of it.
It ends on the 19th. So you've got some time. It's still plenty of time.
Plenty of time to join in that one. So that's an online one, though.
Yeah, it's an online one.
Cool. We'll have to give that. Did you say you were going up to Manchester soon as well?
I am. I've only gone to a couple of physical location jams because mainly I just bug developers, and I'm like, what you doing? How's it going? Only have an hour left. What's going on? But there's a jam in Manchester next month. It's called Jamchester, and it's made really good games in the past. And I met one of the guys who runs it at Develop Brighton, which was an event in Brighton. And he was like, oh, yeah, you should definitely come along and check out the games and bug the developers. And I went, yeah, I'd love to bug some people while they make games. Sounds great.
What more could you want to do in Manchester on a weekend?
On a weekend, yeah.
Bug developers. Yeah, so... when you I know you from Indie Game Launchpad, because I was talking to him and he was like, oh, you gotta go and talk to Jupiter. I was like, who's that?
Who's that?
Who's that? I have no idea who that is. So we followed each other and I talked to you on there. But checking your videos out was very interesting because I was thinking about at that point making my channel a lot more indie orientated, because the AAA games are fun to cover, but I don't know, they get a lot of coverage where I think a lot of these indie developers don't get any coverage or very little coverage. And it kind of makes me a bit sad sometimes. And last week 2 weeks ago, I was interviewing some guys who made a game called Fractured State. Not to get mixed up with Fractured Space. But, they give me the game and I played it and interviewed them and talked to them and stuff like that. But when you look on Steam, they've only shifted review-wise, they've only shifted a few copies. And, you feel quite sorry that they put all this, I think it was 5 years effort into this game.
That's a ton.
And for it not to be picked up, whereas you get these people who do asset flips, who basically spend 1 minute putting a new logo on the game, and sell hundreds of thousands. And I think there's that bit missing where there needs to be more people covering, like you, these little games that aren't asset flips and, people have spent, in game jam times, not long, but, outside of them, could be spending a lot of time on these games. And even the game jams, to just do something like that in 48 hours or 72 is just so impressive, really.
It really is. And that's one of the reasons why I continued covering game jams, because at first it was sort of a challenge thing where someone said that I couldn't cover all of the game jam games, and I was like, I can.
And I will.
But I started finding jam games that had no comments and no feedback, and the whole point of a jam is to get feedback from other people instantly almost about your game.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad because it's you put in so much work, and even though it's a little tinker around idea, it's still important and you worked on it, and I should cover it for a minute so that it's out there in the world, a minute of someone's opinion on your little toy that you've created. And it just I've been told I'm the first person to cover, so many times people have been like, oh, you're the first person to ever cover one of my games ever. And that's just I feel so happy that I got to be the first person to give you feedback on your little toy that you spent so much time on and so much love put into it. And I feel the same when I cover, I do cover full games daily. And just it's so amazing what these indies are creating. Just in their spare time, even a lot of part-time indies keep a full job and then just work on games in their spare time. And they're creating such amazing, games. And it's sad that so many of them get lost in, the amount of games that's always being produced. So I very much like shedding some light on some of the ones that may otherwise get buried.
Yeah, because I think, Steam had something like 5,000 games uploaded last year.
Oh yeah, it's 70 are being published a day on Steam or something. It's
crazy. So I tend to try and look beyond that a little bit, but that's one of the main problems. That's why I started looking on itch.io and stuff a little bit more, because they're not so lost in the world of other crap. Well, in this case, on Steam, a lot of crap.
Yeah.
And if you even look on the new releases on Steam, I said it's about 70 a day going up. And you get these developers that do put that, like I was saying, them Fractured State guys putting all this effort into a game, but just to be lost in rubbish. It's quite hard.
And that's it. You just get lost in all of that. It's quite intense, and that's why it's really important for websites like Itch.io and for Indie Game Launchpad to continue to highlight these smaller games. That's one of the reasons why I ended up working with Indie Game Launchpad. I found it amazing that he was just like, oh, I'm making this website to promote indie developers, and I just want to promote them on my Twitter and get a podcast guy to do podcasts and get a YouTuber to do some YouTube videos. And they have a lot of Android games, which is quite interesting, like Android and iOS games, because you don't find websites that just have a large amount of Android and iOS games, because a lot of places don't even accept that format because it's not like a downloadable game. Most of the time it's a link to like Google Play or a link to I don't know what the Apple Store is called because I don't have an Apple device. iTunes?
I would say, yeah, I'd probably say iStore. I don't
iStore.
have iStore.
iApple Store?
iApple. They always call everything I, so I just think it's called the store.
The Apple Store.
The Apple Store, yeah. We'll call it the iApple Store, and then I think
the
we're covered.
iApple Store. Yeah, perfect. But it's just nice to have a place for those games to live as well, and it's less saturated. Yeah,
definitely, and the Indie Game Launchpad, really nice guy as well, and you can tell he's there for the good reasons. And he did bring me on board. He was like, yeah, go on, you can start like recording videos and stuff. And he was like, check the spreadsheet out, and it was like Jupiter. I'll find one at the bottom down here somewhere which I can cover. But no, it's been something that if I can ever find time to do, I would love to. But I said with the the Android and stuff store, it's very hard to kind of, I don't know, a lot of the games on the mobile again tend to get lost in these pay to wins or these other games, and they get lost behind that. And I go on the App Store. That's what it's called, the App Store.
The App Store.
That's what it's called. Like the Google Play one, and you're like, oh, I fancy something new to play, and you can never, like, it's really hard to just find a new little game to play on your phone, like.
And then most of them are just knockoffs of one, like, an original. Because my friend released a game on the App Store, and, like, overnight there was, like, 5 clones. And one of the clones made it in, like, the top 10, and he was pissed. He was like, this isn't fair. My game is this game. And it's just intense. The App Store. This is the Google Play one that I'm talking about. The Google Play Store. It's intense.
Yeah, it's like Flappy Birds. I mean, how many times, like you were saying, 600 in that game jam. I mean, how many probably were on that store within a day?
So many. So many.
Incredible that these people have that. Well, it's not time and effort because they're not even coming up with original ideas. They're just coming up with stealing other people's ideas.
And I do think that it's important that if you're starting out in game development, you should copy a pre-existing game out there. You should. Like, the first game I ever made was a simple space game where you shot ships coming down. You've seen it 100 times. But it's a good place to start, but you should always put your own spin on it at the least. Like, put just something in it that's unique to you or unique to that game. So it's not a complete clone and it's a bit interesting. So it's good learning. It's a good learning tool, but so many Flappy Birds.
Yeah, I think that's just going to haunt you for the rest of your life, isn't it?
Yes, it's my go-to jam that I hated.
It's just going to be that thing that just reminds you. But no, when you get... I think there's something to be said in imitation, like you said. And there's nothing wrong with a good game that does the same idea well. Nothing wrong with it at all. I mean... like Five Nights at Freddy's is probably another example where how many rubbish clones of that came out that were just terrible.
Oh, tons.
It's like, yeah, okay, I've done this idea a million times before. But you need these guys to do it because, it's where the next fun game's going to come off because how many first-person shooters are the exact same and, how many RTS... Like we were saying before we came on air, you got League of Legends, Dota, you've got that, Heroes of the Storm. Pretty much the Unchained Eye, they're probably all the exact same, to be fair.
They're pretty similar in their like play styles. The only difference is some of them have just like better game modes and just like small things that are way better and done better that it makes it a whole new game to some people.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure by us saying that, we're probably now going to get the biggest amount of hate on the comment section ever.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Hello, this isn't my YouTube channel, so I don't care.
Yeah, it's not. My name is Bob. So yes, blame him if he comes up with that. But no, it's like, yeah, you got it intimidated. So you've made games then, have you, as well?
Well, made games is a very loose term. I started off dabbling in Game Maker. I made some tutorials that were received well because I had no idea what I was doing. So they're like in plain English. I don't talk about variables because I didn't know what they were at the time. I just, coded up 2 really simple games and did some tutorials on how to do a platformer as well. And then realized that I really don't like making games. So flipped over to just doing journalism and just doing YouTube videos and being so surprised that people are able to make games that fast because it took me ages to make 2 very simple games.
Yeah, well, at least you managed 2. I suppose that's better than me, who I don't. I think if I go now, and I'm just at that age where I'm just like, right, how does this work?
Nope.
Too complicated. Right, next. And like I use a thing called Lightworks for some of my videos sometimes, and people are like, oh, use this and use this and use this, and I'm like, no, because I know the Lightworks. I can just click on that one button.
Yep.
That one button, and it puts it there.
I use virtual dub to edit, and that's like an obscure thing that no one uses, but I know how it works, so that's what I'm using.
That's all you need, and I know you're a lot younger than me, but I think it's worse as you get older. You know when you used to see your grandma and granddad, like, and you give them a remote control, and you like press 1, and they'd be like, "Where's the 1?"
I can't see it. What's this button?
Yeah, what's this button? It says guide. Just press the guide button. Or when someone takes your remote from you, your remote, and they're just like, oh, I'll change the channel. No, because you press the wrong button. Press the wrong button. But it does get a bit like that as you go older. Like, I still use Movie Maker to edit my videos because it's just so easy. If I want to do picture-in-picture, I have to go into Lightworks. And it just doesn't do it. I'm like, no, wrong button. But yeah, I'm getting better. Like, I use like GIMP to do me GIFs and stuff like that. But
look at you updating with the times.
Oh, getting with the times. I moved away from Paint a long time ago.
Good job.
Good job. Yes, MS Paint just wasn't there. Windows 98 it probably was, but no, it's like that again. I had to sit and watch a video of someone going, right, this is how you do it. I'm like, right, okay, that's how you do that and that, and oh, that's an interesting video. I'll look at that, and yeah, but you're just like, no. So I know what's like with I don't know why I went off topic there, but. Like even tutorials, in games now. Just tell me what I need to do, i.e. W, A, S, and D, where I need to walk, what the hell the point of the game is, and just let me do it. I don't want a tutorial that's like 10 minutes long. You
gotta have a lot of balance with tutorials. I've given talks as well, like around various parts of Europe, and I had a talk specifically talking about your first minute of gameplay and how to do a correct tutorial, because it drives me nuts. I don't need a 5-minute tutorial that the first one is, this is how you run. Hold shift and run for 20 seconds. This is how you jump. Hold shift to run, jump over one thing, and then go over. This is how you shoot. Go forward, you click with your mouse a couple of times, and then you go into the next. It's just, we're beyond that.
We're very beyond that. And in fact, like, if you're not going to give me a tutorial, give me a tooltip and just say, this is what you're doing. And in fact, the other day, a couple of months ago, I reviewed a game called Arc Continuum.
Right.
It was terrible, absolutely terrible. But it's my most disliked video ever. I don't know if the developers decided to take action against me, and I keep getting people commenting like have weird names and stuff.
It's weird.
But someone the other day wrote, and I'll read the comments here. WTF is this? The worst video I've ever seen. A gamer complaining that there are no tutorials. We all hate tutorials, FFS. And then he looks if he can turn on hints. Shame on you, dude. You should stop. Was his exact comment.
I think I saw that on your Twitter feed, and I was like, look.
I was like, you don't even tell me how to play the game. I didn't know how to shoot. I didn't know how to, I can guess because I'm a gamer. I know that maybe spacers jump, maybe controls that, and maybe, but I had no idea of the context of why I was there, what I was doing, and how to play the game. And even if he just came up with a text box saying, "Hi, you are here."
Even if you had an about box, just a box that says about, and you click on it, and it's an option, and it says, "Hey, by the way, it's shift to run. It's WASD to move." That's so helpful.
It's just so unbelievably helpful. And I was playing a game called something Neighbor the other day, random game Friday, and it said on the, when you come up to something, it'll say like press E to do something. And on the hint it said, press E to use or pick up, and I was pressing E, nothing happening. It's like, why is E not working? And it didn't say that you had to hold down E to pick things up.
So it's press and hold should be there,
but
press.
E opened things, and E interacted with if you actually wanted to pick, but it never actually said that. And it's like, well, man, if you're making a game, at least just tell me the basic controls. So now
Playtesting is important. Sit people down at your game. Don't tell them the controls. Let them read the thing and see what happens, because you'll find that people react differently. So my housemate, quick tangent, he shows off his game at tons and tons of events. And he uses this really cool leap motion controller. So you can put your hand over this platform and it picks up your hand's movements.
All right, okay.
And the screen tells you, hover your hand over this device. And so many people put their fingers on this device and wait. And it's like, just seeing that this is how people play the game. and you start to understand what you need to change and the wording you need to change and stuff, so that your game will come across better.
It's very true, and I train for a living as well, so I know, like, it is different learning styles. You know, like, some people you'll tell to pick up a cup, and they'll pick up a cup. Someone you'll tell to pick up a cup, and they'll throw the cup on the floor. They'll do this. They'll stamp on it. They'll look around the cup.
They'll try to break the cup.
They'll try and break the cup. They'll go. They'll just do everything possible not to pick up that cup. And you know, that's what you gotta take into account, because some people play games where literally they spend the whole first 5 minutes of the game just looking around the area, trying to break it, trying to do this. It's no, tutorials really annoying. I could talk about tutorials for about 2 hours of how annoying they can be, because I just can't stand them sometimes. Like, really,
tutorials are the worst, but tell us how to play the game.
Yeah, tell us how to play the game, but they're the worst thing ever invented in the world. Let's just have a happy medium on there. Anyway, I think that's been around about 15 minutes.
I think we've gone over 15 minutes.
Gone over a little bit. Well, I always go over a little bit, but we had lots to cover anyway. So I'm going to thank you very much for joining me.
Oh, no problem. Thank you very much for having me on here.
It's okay. We'll put all the links in the description below, so go and check her out. Put the YouTube link in there. Go and like and watch some videos. And also, we'll be featuring it on the Spotlight series on Wednesday, so you can have a look at some of the videos. I don't know why you wouldn't be bold not to click on the link, but there'll be a video up anyway. And
awesome.
Yeah, so cool. So thank you very much, and I'll catch you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.